Welcome to USL Live Week 5 preview show, where we'll discuss all the action, analysis, and excitement ahead of this weekend's matchups across the league, as well as recapping last week's matches. Joining me in the booth today is Mecca,
Howdy.
TG,
Hello.
and Splittah.
How's it going, boys?
Not too bad, not too bad. So, jumping right into last week's matches. First match was Jersey Boys beating Sparta 65-47, MVP The Mountain going 14-6. Mecca, what were your thoughts on the match, bud?
Sorry. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my mic was being weird. Yeah, another fight from Titan on bombs map. It's just that ridge area is so hard to hold, and then we had the lead. We went north, then we came back in south, and then kind of played into the nadir again. We got too many mortars, too many 40s. The difference between this match and then the Birds match is you see that they really focus Kevin out. Everybody thinks that Nader's not great, but Kevin definitely got too many kills at open battles, or I know a lot of his were cleanups too, but he had a few game opening kills that just, if he wasn't Nader, he probably doesn't get as a Marine. He might get a stream, but you know what I mean? Just an instant kill. And then when you see him versus Birds, you see they play more on the open. They focus him more. As soon as he's out of position, they all crash on him. I think if we did that, we probably had a lot better chance. But on to the next week. Just glad to be off Bombs map, and hopefully we can build some momentum going towards playoffs.
Yeah, fair enough. TG?
Yeah, these open fights were kind of competitive, but it's kind of the same thing for Sparta every week. As soon as they try to get aggressive, somebody dies, and then Jersey Boys capitalize on those, just like they do every single week. Yeah, Kevin had a good game on Nader again. SV finally had a good game. Again, Sparta medics. I don't know, man. It just seems like every week it's a struggle. I think Yoshi is playing terrible so far. Like, you kick Sabo, who's playing really well for us, for Yoshi, and it just hasn't worked out yet. But yeah, Iron played really well. You want to see him be active. The rest of the guys played. Mecca seemed fine. Iso seemed fine. So Eric had a rough game this week, but it happens when you're leading too. So yeah, Jersey Boys just outplayed them. It happens. And like you said, tough side from Titan on every week. Every week that was really weird. Every match you had Titan on bombs, but yeah, Jersey Boys played well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Split?
yeah. For us, we kind of expected it, especially them being on Titan, that we would have a big advantage. And then also throughout that week, I don't know, Sparta was not in their groove at all. Like, they were like losing to seems like a lot of squads. It was us, and they lost to like DS throughout the week. So it's just like their momentum was kind of like not there that week. Plus the fact that they had the weak side, yeah, we kind of already had a really good expectation of winning. But yeah, Iron definitely did pop off. He was really pivotal for pretty much a lot of their kills. I did think Mecca played well overall. Iso didn't really show up as much as he did the previous games. As for us, yeah, Mountain and Kev being probably the biggest key for a lot of the battles. Danny played excellent as well too. But overall, good game. I liked that it was pretty competitive. There was a lot of battles, not much capping overall. So yeah.
Yeah, no, overall it was poor showing from us, bad leading by me, but overall it was still a fun game. Pretty competitive. And like you guys already said, Iron showed out. I had a fucking terrible game. And Kevin really picked on our meds, and I think he got a few battle opening kills on, I think Mecca was one and Yosh might have been another. But Gift also called it out. Anytime we get aggressive, one of our meds just goes down. And it really kills the momentum in any type of push we have. But, on to the next week. We're finally off that, and Birds is next. We'll see what happens. So going into the next match from week 4, it was Dark Slayers Talking Smack Sunday 79 or 76-39. Your MVP, Chuck. Take it away, Mecca.
Yeah, really not that much to talk about on this one, except that first play that Pister SV and I tried to help him set up. It just obviously, giving the cords out because they're camping too long kind of ruined it too, and them not pushing all the way on the road because they were about to push up the road, and then they turned around. If they push all the way up the road, it might work. MTR was in the perfect spot, and then it just kind of fell apart from there. And then you saw the lead just grow and grow and grow and grow. Just silly mistakes just kind of compounding on each other. I thought Bax played pretty well. His normal suicide style, but he did get a few kills. I think Oct is a great addition to the lineup. I think that the meds are just, I don't know what you can do with them. And I don't even think it's their fault. It's just, I think that they're probably just looking forward to next season, most of the team now, knowing that they're not going to make playoffs. And it's just kind of, put it in cruise control and just go to the next season. As far as Dark Slayers, I thought they played pretty decently. Good to see Manu back. I think they need Manu in the lineup if they want to do anything against any of the playoff squads. You sub him in for Metal or Bath, and I think that they are already in a better position for that. And then shout out to Typhoon for getting 18 kills.
Yeah, TG.
Yeah, same thing. Not too much to say. Typhoon absolutely popped off. Chucky, this is probably the best game he's had this season. So kudos to him playing on that terrible class. I think Rangers complete trash. Bax had a great game. MTR has been getting kills this season, but 15 deaths in a match is a shit ton. So that's a lot of deaths. But yeah, TSS tried to set up a play. It was really wonky. You can't really camp this season, so it's very hard to set up plays. But again, same as last week, I appreciate them trying to change it up and get people to fall for these traps. But yeah, not much else to say.
Yeah. All right, Split.
Yeah, yeah, I was there when they were practicing that play, the first play of the match. Yeah, it actually it did work. Just that they didn't get any kills out of it, which is kind of a shame. But with that, I do think that there was a big, increase in skill this match for Talking Smack Sunday. Huge improvement overall. I mean, Oct coming in for them definitely did show up. Bax as well did show up that match. MTR, I think there's a problem with what he does sometimes is like where he's trying to I guess hold a rock, but while holding a rock, he's not being aware that his team might be falling, which then leaves him alone a lot of deaths. I do think that Dark Slayers pretty much took advantage of every position that they were given. Typhoon was popping off, like his aim was on point. Obviously Tyrael, and then I also think that Ender too was really playing well. His aim was on point as well. But yeah, I was actually happy for Talking Smack Sunday's performance and overall great match for Dark Slayers as well.
Yeah, no, Talking Smack Sunday definitely kept it closer than obviously the first time they played each other. Typhoon, again, as you guys have all said, popped off 18-4. As the season goes on, Ender's going to get better and better and continue to unrust. I mean, we all know him from like Surgical and SFO and everything like that back on SOE. So as we kick into playoffs, I feel like he's going to step it up even more and more as the weeks go on. Oct, as you guys have said, is a big recruit for Talking Smack Sunday. I'm not sure as to why he waited this long into the season to join them. I think there was some inner drama going on there. And then, yeah, Bax 12-10. MTR, you guys kind of called it 15 deaths when the closest one after that is 10. That's a little too much. A little bit of maybe miscommunication on, as you guys might have said, falls or, just taking some bad deaths overall. But we can move on to this week's matches. Or I'm sorry, no. We've still got Birds over Jersey Boys, 43-25, with your MVP being Sabo. Mecca, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this one surprised a lot of people. I wasn't that shocked. I mean, I think they're pretty close on paper, and I think that Birds having Collie and kind of exposing Kevin was a big difference in this game. I mean, Kevin ends up going 4-8. I know Danny went 4-8 as well, but they really did a good job of, in football they talk about like what's the game plan against this team or that team. I think Birds had a really good game plan. Whether I don't know if it was like talked about before or they kind of just did it in the game, stay away from Kevin type thing, but to kind of expose one of Jersey Boys' greatest strengths in Kevin. So it was good to see Birds kind of just come out and put their foot down. I mean, this game was super close until late. I mean, they were trading back and forth. I think even Jersey Boys started like 8-0 or 9-0 or something like that. Something crazy like that, and then Birds kind of just took the wheel from there. This Birds lineup is looking scary. I know they don't have Kago; he wasn't really playing anyways. But the addition of Sabo, if Sabo can keep his head on straight and make smart calls, I think Sabo is one of the better Marines in the league. Especially if he doesn't really have to make calls, he can just hold his mouse down and shoot. That's going to be great for them. So I do think it's good for Birds to come out and play this. The only negative for Birds is Fax. Fax has been having a brutal season. I don't know what's up with him, but yeah, he's 28-28 on the season, going 4-1, and he solos a lot. So I know he's not going to get a lot of kills, but when he solos, he's kind of just falling. So I'm not sure if Fax is just having a down season or what. But I think if they're going to win the ring, they need something out of Fax. Not going 2-6, not going even on the season. But if he plays up to snuff, even if he plays like last season or 2 seasons ago, I think Birds are the favorite going into the finals.
All right, TG.
Yeah, we wanted to win the first battle because I didn't want to like chase them all over, and then we were running around trying to posture, and they went up 10-0 after the first 2 battles. But there was no panic on our side. Everyone remained calm. There was no tilting, and then we got to a couple open field battles, and it just kind of turned from there. This is probably the best match I've ever seen Slob play, like in his career. He was absolutely outstanding. Uh, Nothing against Staley either. Kevin's mortars were. I don't think he killed anybody with a mortar. Like we shut him out completely. Comms were amazing. Just like, again, after the first 10 kills, everybody played very well. I was shocked after I watched the replay of it. It was great to hear all the comms and everything. There was a couple of bad deaths in there, but that's to be expected. It's been that way every match. But yeah, Kevin was neutralized. We fought them out in the open. I knew we were better out in the open, and that's pretty much what happened. That's how I expected the match to go.
Yeah, going into the match, we're kind of questioning positioning on the Titan side, especially with the Nader. So we were kind of like trying our best to be in the right side, especially on the south side. But it's really hard getting that south position from the left side, especially when you're facing Birds, right? At the middle point, they really took advantage of that south position where we couldn't break through. I do think that Pister definitely did think outside the box. A few key battles were decided by his leadership. Kevin, yeah, it's no fault on his at all. I mean, we've been relying on Kevin to break open pretty much a lot of the open battles for us. It's just again that Titan side is a huge disadvantage. But yeah, I mean, Birds performed. We definitely did think that they were going to go into this potentially winning as well. That they had the edge, especially on the right side. Sabo, I felt like, he's been performing well overall from what I've seen. So him joining Birds definitely made them way better. Even they don't have many weaknesses. I think Rio played well as well. Slob, I have no idea how he didn't die either. Next time we have to mark him and make sure he dies. But yeah, big ups to Birds. It's a great match overall. And looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, this was a good match. It was a fun one to commentate, and I know we talked to Gift in the post game interview, but Split towards the end there. Did you guys know, in terms of the tiebreaker, like how many kills you couldn't give up?
Oh yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, there was an error on our side. We thought that we needed that we were up 20 kills on them.
Mhm.
So we thought we were safe at that moment when everything was finalized, and then we're like, oh yeah, we still have that 20, so that we're up 2 on them, and we get slapped in the face to find out that we only had 17 really. So but yeah, it was a mistake on our part.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just curious because, like I said, we talked to Gift in the post game and we got his response, so they were aware. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a fun game to commentate. I guess I didn't even realize during that game that Slob never died. I watched Staley catch a few 40s to Kevin on that ridge, which was probably 75% of Kevin's kills was Staley. But nonetheless, I love Staley. No fault to him. They were pushing around that rock, and Kevin just got with that pre-fire that is like almost non-existent. It's kind of hard to dodge those from time to time. But moving on to next week's matches or this weekend's matches. The first one's going to be Birds at Darkslayers at 9:30. Mecca, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think on Urban Decay, I think it's one of the more balanced maps. I'm not sure who has which side. TG, do you have home on this one?
I don't even. I think they're
You know?
home. I believe.
Okay. Do you remember if you played them home the first time you played them?
I don't even remember, to be honest.
Okay.
That's sad. That's sad. I should know.
I don't either. So, yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're home. They have Collie. I don't really think there's a distinctive advantage on this map. I mean, I think there's a little bit of one. If you play Nader, which will be important here because I think King plays Nader, and you can kind of troll the South Rocks quite a bit. Because if you're playing Titan, you can come in on the right side of the rocks, but it's not always that safe to just kind of push down there through the road as a Nader. You kind of have to fight for it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So if Darkslayers does run the Nader, which I'm assuming they'll run Nader, but they should run demo. They'll at least stand a chance in this game. But I think Birds is on a heater right now. Even with Darkslayers destroying TSS last week, which is not that great of an accomplishment, but still, I think Birds takes this one. I expect them to try to keep a lot of the fights in the open. And Chucky's going to be hitting a lot of trees with his Ranger because he's not going to realize how many trees there are. And I think but I think the good thing here is Darkslayers can kind of gauge themselves against Birds, because it's the likely first round matchup. So I'd like to see them put. Well, one, Manu needs to show up. Two, I'd like to see them try different things with Med, like maybe move Chucky to Med, maybe put Phony at Med and keep Chucky, Ranger, which I still think is a mistake, but I would like to see them kind of tweak their lineup a little bit to see like if they can stand up to Birds at all with their ideal lineup. So I would look for them to do that in the game.
All right, TG.
I think Darkslayers is home for this. I believe we had home on Apollos versus them, so I think the left side is slightly better on Urban Decay, but it's pretty close regardless. It's not like a massive advantage, I don't think. They're going to play whatever sort of poor classes they're going to play. Nader should be okay on this map. Yeah, you mentioned Ranger. We'll see. There, like you said, there's a million physics on that map. It's kind of hard, but the whole road area is pretty open. The thing about UD is it's very fast paced. Respawn is there instantly, so it's going to be a lot of fighting, and we just have better fighters. I think the addition of Fausto is really big for them. It kind of shored up their leadership a little bit. Darkslayers has some good players. We're not going to win by 50 by any means. It's going to be pretty close match, I think. Probably that 15 range. We do have more experience on the map. That's going to be a big factor, but yeah, I think it's going to be a little closer than people think.
Right,
Yeah, I think the same. I think it's definitely going to be closer than people think. I think that Darkslayer has been improving week over week. Granted, I mean, there's always been that discussion about Chucky playing Ranger. This map, actually, I know that there's physics and all, but it's more close quarters, which I think might be more favorable for Chuck. So this hopefully might be the best showing for him in a big match. I do think that it's kind of going to be really difficult for Typhoon or Manu to get through the leading aspect on this map, especially since there's going to be a lot of battles to maneuver, and then they have some newer players to handle with that. If Fausto does show, I think that it'll definitely be within that 15 kill margin potentially, or 20 kill margin, just because of that additional leadership and solo angles. But yeah, overall, obviously, we are going to have to go with the favorite Birds by far on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think of everybody, or of every squad this season, I think most of like Splittah, Birds, and JB have the most experience on this map. So Darkslayers is already fighting an uphill battle in terms of roster strength, but now you have to throw in the whole map mechanic, right? Fausto did lead Hungry Beavers, if I recall correctly, a few seasons back on this map, so he knows the map. I know Manu knows the map, and Typhoon has a little bit of experience on it. So they're not completely lost, but it's those other players, like returning players like Ender, that doesn't really have the experience. Same with Chuck, Abath, etc. You mentioned Ranger for Chuck, and with this being close range, that MP5 can do a deceptive amount of damage. Its fire rate is very similar to LMG. It just doesn't have the same range, right? So I mean, we would like to see him off of it and play Marine, but he's going to play Ranger, and King is definitely playing Nader. You might see a demo from them, but I agree with your guys' take. I think this is going to be roughly like a 20 kill spread for Birds here. So moving on to the next match, it would be Jersey Boys at TSS. Mecca?
Yeah, and looks like TSS has home on this one. I don't think it's gonna matter. I think Smack and Co will try to um maybe set up a couple plays at the beginning like they did against Darkslayers. Um there's a few plays to be had. They can set up, an ambush left. They can go all the way top left in that building. They can do some fun things up there, especially with Oct Demo or Octinator. They might be able to get a few kills, but I mean, I think Jersey Boys is just way too strong for TSS. I mean, I don't think it needs to be said, but I would look for Kevin to hit. I mean, Kevin's going to die a lot because he's going to want more mortars because they're going to be catching a lot of mortars on this map. This is a really mortar friendly map. So I expect him to get quite a bit of mortar kills on this and just to die to get more. But I want to put a challenge up who gets more mortar kills in this game, MTR3 or Kevin. I think that's what I'll be watching, and that's what will entertain me through the game.
Gift.
Jersey Boys is going to win because they're the better squad, but it's not going to be like 40 or 50. I don't think. We'll see how TSS plays it. You can't really camp on this map because again, it's so fast paced. But if they can keep it together a little bit, then Jersey Boys could win by 20. But on the flip side too, if these guys just screw around and get destroyed, I could see that too. But MTR3 is going to get some mortar kills. Bax will get. I think Bax will drop 10 kills at least in this match too. Like it's so fast paced, they're just going to be fighting constantly. But yeah, Jersey Boys is going to win. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Split.
Yeah, definitely give it to us. I do think that it'll probably be more like a 30 to 40 kill margin for this game. Although I do believe that Talking Smack Sunday did huge improvement last week with Octane joining them and all. So, but yeah, I just don't see how it's going to be that close either way.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, like Gift is saying, this map is very fast paced. If TSS can find a way to at least slow it down just a little bit, it'll avoid and kind of buffer that 30 kill margin that Split is talking about. But I think they just kind of run at them. And it's going to end up being probably 25, 30 kill difference for Jersey Boys. So not really a whole lot to talk about. I'm kind of with Mecca. It'll be interesting to see who has more mortar kills, MTR or Kevin. I think MTR is going to have more chances because I feel like he's going to die more than Kevin will. So it'll be interesting to see. But moving on to the last match of the week, it is Birds at Splittah, and this one I do know Splittah does have home. Go ahead, Mecca.
Yeah, finally have home. This is gonna be an interesting one. I'm not gonna be there, so whatever you want to draw from that. But I think Sparta will be better on this map than any other maps. I mean, you remember too on Apollo's map, we only lost by 4 and by 7 to Jersey Boys and Birds back to back. So I know everybody's really high on Birds right now and low on Sparta. But I think this will be a lot closer than people are going to assume because of recency bias. The big question for us, and TG said it in about the review from last week, is our meds. Who's going to med for us? What's the med combo going to be? We keep trying different combinations. Nothing's really worked so far. So let's see what we do. Eric and I had a few ideas of what's going to happen going forward. There'll be some slight changes, not necessarily in the lineup, but maybe classes. And we'll try to nab one from Birds, but I do probably expect Birds to win this game. I know Sparta has a lot of experience playing from Kali on this map, especially when we were on squads with Sov. We actually beat Birds in a finals game on this map not too long ago, 2 seasons ago, whenever that was. Maybe, was it last season? I don't even remember. So that Eric does have that in the back of his mind. Yosh does have that in his back of mind. So they just need to draw off that. Maybe watch those videos, see what they did right, and maybe try to launch those attacks against Birds. But I think I give Birds the win on this one.
Yeah, TG.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very close match too. I think Sparta matches up better against us than Jersey Boys, so on paper the lineups are going to be really close. Lineups is going to be a big thing. If Mecca's not going to be there, I'm not sure who's showing for Birds yet. I think Sabotage said he's not going to be here, so that's one Marine we're going to be missing too. Another thing we haven't mentioned yet on Urban Decay, Demo is very, very good, and Ernie has been playing lights out. Demo should not be that great on bombs map, but he didn't miss many RPGs. He was a big catalyst for why we beat Jersey Boys. Now you put him on a map where Demo is even stronger, and he's going to be a big factor, I think. As Mecca mentioned, medics. I don't get it because the medics on Sparta aren't bad players, but it's been brutal to watch them. I don't understand what's going on there. I don't know if it's their own fault positioning or if they're chasing Sparta's Marines that are being overly aggressive and just dying for it. I'm not sure what's going on. Sparta has to figure that out ASAP. And then I don't even like, you're going to start ESO and Eric and Shasta, but I don't know. They just Sparta seems off this season. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it is the loss of Sov. Like Sov was the glue that kept everybody going. I'm not sure, but Sparta just seems kind of janky. I don't really know what's going on. But I still think it'll be a close match. I think Birds will probably win by 10 to 12-ish in that area somewhere. It's going to be a fun match. It's going to be straight fighting. It's not going to be too much posturing. I think it's be straight up fighting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Split.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Sparta wins and defeats Birds. I mean, for multiple reasons. Obviously, it would help us positionally, but for their case, like I'm sure that they want to win this match because it'll kind of help them get that playoff mentality going for themselves, and that knowing that they could beat Birds would, definitely motivate them to potentially even win the whole championship. So this does kind of, it is kind of an important match for them, considering this is the last chance that they'll have to be a top 2 squad in this season. It definitely does suck though that they're going to be not having Mecca there, which I do think will hurt them because I don't know who's going to replace him currently. As for Chompy not playing last week, I could see obviously there's been that discussion about Chompy and where he is currently in the season and the potential he has. I always thought that like when you guys were playing him as Ranger, that he was playing way better than he was playing a Marine. I know that Ranger has its weaknesses, of course, but I think on this map, if you guys do some testing on that, I think you'll see that it might really be favorable to give it a chance, especially with Chompy and Mecca not being there. As for the medic department, yeah, they've been consistently on the weak side on the medic department. I think that it's kind of a rough position because Iron is also extremely useful as a Marine, So it's like, you put Iron as medic, who's going to replace that next Marine now, So it's always in that situation that Sparty's dealing with right now. It could be very well the Sop situation. I mean, someone not just brought skill, but he brought leadership and he filled in a lot of holes that Sparta's having right now. But yeah, it's pretty big match for Sparta. I do think that Birds definitely does have the advantage still, especially with them getting better, with the Sabo edition. Yeah, I think it's going to probably be Birds probably by 10. But Sparta, if they do some testing this week, I hope that, maybe they win it.
Yeah, no. With us having Kali and the amount of experience on this map, it's going to be fun. It's going to be straight fighting, like Giff said. There's going to be no posturing. Mecca's not going to make it. A few other people aren't going to make it. So Chompy is definitely going to be in the lineup. Bowen's probably going to be in the lineup. I mean, there's just going to be a bunch of different people playing. And in regards to the medics, it could be a mixture of things. It could be, as Gift already pointed out, them chasing over aggressive Marines, or you have some Marines that are being aggressive while others are falling back and the meds are getting split. Meds are getting baited into mortars, kind of what happened to Bonds on against Jersey Boys last week. And then you also have me not being able to kill and lead at the same time. And if we want to contend with any of these other playoff squads, I need to be able to kill and lead at the same time, and that just falls on me. So, this match will be interesting. I still give it the Birds just because we are going to be missing a lot of people, but it's still going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of fighting. Probably see Ernie a lot southeast around those rocks, and I'll probably bust out the AT for this one just for shits and giggles. I give you guys probably 15 to 20 kill lead, but that is it for next week's matches. Looking at I know Rom doesn't really go over it, so looking at the fantasy standings so far, the top teams are 1 with 1295 points, Staley with 1287, Ernie with 1197, Fax with 1140, and Pisser with 1112. Your top picks last week were Typhoon with 48 points, Mountain with 42, Kevin with 40, Samara with 34, and King with 33. My kind of prediction for top 5 picks in fantasy this coming week is going to be pretty much Birds players, just because they have us and they also have Dark Slayers, so 2 matches is going to be huge on points. But Rio, Tactical, TG, Taco, and I'm going to say SV is probably going to get a majority of the kills in that TSS game. Any thoughts on fantasy there, guys?
I'd be in the lead if I didn't have R in my lineup the first 3 weeks.
I didn't even set up a lineup
Oof.
Sunday. I completely forgot. So
Yeah, me neither.
All right. Well, I mean, last item on the list is mailbag. Mecca, you said yours were mostly troll. Same with Split. TG didn't get any, so just me, right?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. So first question: what is the best / most satisfying way to get a kill? For example, lost snipe, nade kill, or just straight up clipping somebody up. What do you guys think?
I think it's dependent on like the situation. Like for instance, I would love to fucking clip TG, but I mean, I'd settle for a law, but I would love to clip him. But yeah, it depends on the situation.
Direct mortars got to be up there. Direct C4, that's got to be it, right? Like when you actually hit a C4 on somebody, or actually even through a wall, it's pretty funny too. But a direct C4, just because it's pretty rare, especially if you get maybe 2 people, it's pretty much the best feeling you can get in infantry.
All right.
satisfying to me, I tend to agree with Split. I think straight up 1v1 Marine, it's just skill on skill. I think if I'm 1v1ing somebody and I win, even though, because you're not going to win every single 1v1 against every player, but if you can win the majority of those, that to me is more satisfying because you're just outscaling the other player.
All right, fair enough. For me, I always like those cheeky nade banks. So if somebody tries to run under it and it just hits them in the head, that to me is just hilarious. Other than that, I just like a good lost snipe. So I'll take that.
Knife, honorable mention, knife kills are amazing.
Oh yeah, that's true. Those are pretty good too. Let's see, what do we got next? We got Birds beating Jersey Boys creates a power struggle for the number 1 spot. Most of the league expects Sparta has more in the gas tank and will turn it on before playoffs. Do we think it's a 3-way run for the championship this season, or do we see a dark horse opportunity for Dark Slayers, who has yet to prove that they could beat a top 3 squad?
I think it's a 3-horse race. I think, as we said, Sparta's playing bad right now, but if we play well and everybody plays well, I think that we can match either Jersey Boys or Birds. And I wouldn't be surprised if any of the 3 won a champ this year. I think this is the most parity we've had in USL, and I can't even remember. I mean, Cats winning the ring was pretty big, but that was pretty much just Cats and anything to win. I think it was that season. So there wasn't really the third. I mean, the Jersey Boys crew was there, but they weren't doing nearly as well that season. So, yeah, I think it's a 3-horse. I don't think Dark Slayers really stands a chance.
Anybody else?
Looks like EC is winning the poll at the moment for semis. So EC's pretty balanced. It's a pretty even map. So honestly, anybody could win on that map in the playoffs. Now, camping again is it's getting neutered really hard, and EC's kind of a campy map. But on that map in semis, like I said, I think anybody could win. So I agree with Mecca. Dark Slayers just doesn't have the experience or the players to compete with the top 3, I believe. But again, anything could happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, I want to knock out Dark Slayers just off the bat. I mean, they still have this weekend, and next weekend to kind of like get better. They've been improving, like I said it before. So there's, definitely upset capability. I definitely believe that with them. But yeah, right now the top three, definitively, I think right now can go to anybody. Yeah, I'm not going to knock out Sparta either, just because they've had a horrible showing so far. Because they can still turn it around. They have the players, so they should be able to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's still a 3-horse race, especially if EC does win the map selection. There's only so many ball ups you can do as Jersey boys that Sparta won't be aware of on that map. So I mean, it'll be very interesting. Anything can happen in the playoffs. And I agree with Split for once. I don't necessarily count Dark Slayers out, just because you do still have Fausto, Manu. Now these guys all have to show in the playoffs, but Fausto, Manu, Ender, those guys can be good enough to catch people off guard given the right situation. Am I saying it's going to happen? Probably not, but there is that off chance, right? Going into another Jersey Boy related question. Now that Jersey Boys has been exposed, does Pister bench Splittah for Sov? With Sov, they have a chance, but with Splittah, there is no hope of beating Birds. Go ahead.
Jeez.
That's a lot. That's definitely from Sovereign Crew. That's my idea of who that came from. I'll let somebody else answer first. I don't answer. Go ahead.
I honestly think if you're gonna play Sov, you probably play Medic, because I think the Medics looked pretty bad against Birds, and I think Havoc is probably gonna win the Meta Award, so you might bench Victim or something, but they're pretty loyal to them. I don't know. I don't know if you ever actually play them, because like, what Marine would you bench for him? I mean, skill wise, obviously all of them, but like Pister's mostly a loyal person, so I don't know if he would ever do that. But I don't know. It's a tough call if Sov comes knocking and once the finals start and he says, "Hey, do you want a ring or not?" Does Pister say no? I mean, I guess that's going to be the morality question of the year.
Had like millions of dollars on the line, I'm sure that answer would probably be yes. But it doesn't. So it's just a game amongst friends. Saw was an addition that we already told from the get go that we already had a set roster. Obviously, he's one of the best players, one of the best leaders. But there is that soft thing that we kind of spoke about last podcast as well, which was basically, Sov joins. What that what comes with Sov, right? It doesn't just not just your squad anymore. Now it's a Sov squad, Sov leadership, and again, nothing wrong with that. It's just that was not the original premise for the squad to begin with. But yeah, it is nice to like what we said last week too. Nice to have him on the side if we do need him, but he's not expected to start unless one of our main starters are not showing.
Yeah, I don't. Split has played fine this season. There's no reason to bench him. If gun to my head, if I had to bench somebody, maybe Danny, I guess. And I like Danny too, but because you're not. Pister and Kevin seem pretty close, so he's not going to bench Kevin. I would never use a fucking nader ever, but they seem pretty tight, and they're going to use a nader, so whatever. But to me, it'd be probably Danny, since you're not going to bench Kevin. If Sav is going to show up and play, Medic kind of makes sense, but then again, if you plug Sav in there as a Marine, he's your best killer now. So yeah, pretty tough call.
Yeah, no, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. In my mind, if Nader isn't working, Kevin gets subbed out for Sov. I don't think Split gets subbed out. I think it's definitely Kevin, or as Mecca already said, Medic's Victim goes out for Sov. But if what Split is saying is true, Sov is just kind of there to chill, So we might not even see him on spec. But last question I have is, did Dark Slayers sell out on being a CTF squad? Did they strike a good mix of SK and CTF diversity, or could they become a staple of the USL League and contend for a top spot down the road?
I don't think they sold out. I mean, most of their guys, aside from like Pearl Heart, Typhoon, Manu, are CTFers at heart. I mean, there's a lot of crossover plays or crossover players, so I don't really think they sold out at all. I mean, if you wanted a pure CTF squad of like nobody who ever played at SK before, that's one thing. But I'd rather much rather see a competitive squad that maybe on a good week could beat somebody with mainly a group of guys who play CTF. You know, like it just never works when you have like a bunch of noobs from another zone coming into zone. We've seen it in CTF with a pure skirmish squad going in. It used to happen in Soccer Brawl. There was like a CTF squad that came in, and it's just stat pads every week.
I
So
mean,
I'd much rather see a nice blend.
Yeah, the early versions of Tank or Toolbox were your pure examples of pure CTFers that just didn't work.
And it just doesn't work.
But sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Split or TJ.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like this hybrid version. Oh, sorry, TJ. I like this hybrid version that they have going for them. Honestly, I think that they are a CTF squad. I mean, the majority of them are. Some of the players I haven't seen play in a while, especially Ender. Granted, he has had USL history. We all know Ender from SL as well. But yeah, he just fits in well. And then on top of that, you have players like Chucky that never played USL. That we're getting to see, and I've been playing with Chucky a lot, and he's honestly phenomenal. Phenomenal player. I really wish we see more of him, but yeah, I think that they are a CTF squad.
It's a good mix. I think this game, the player base is so small. It's hard to keep the same players seasoned. I mean, a lot of teams do, but if Darkslayers is going to stick around every season, they'll vastly improve. They're already competitive now in their first season. So if they can stick it out, and they'll definitely get better. But again, players kind of come and go constantly, so it's hard to keep that cohesion and team chemistry up. But no, they've had a good season. There's great mix of CTF and SK, and if they put a complete game together, they could beat a top squad for sure. So good season for them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they sold. I think you look at this roster, and I think Brill, Fausto, Manu, and that's really it, aren't CTFers at heart. Because correct me if I'm wrong, didn't way back when Typhoon, who used to go by Phonics, bring CTFers as Titans to skirmish? So he was a CTFer back in the day too. So yes, there's been a lot of crossplay, but no, they didn't sell out. They just, CTF has been dead for a much longer time while USL has continued to play. So a lot of these guys are considered skirmishers now, but at heart, they are definitely PLers.
If I can interject 1 second too, I think the tribalism in infantry is pretty much dead. I know it used to be around like, oh, I'm a CTF or I'm a SKer. It's like, yeah, a lot of people play both now, so it doesn't really matter. So it's unnecessary to label it a CTF squad.
Yeah,
at this point.
No, I agree, and I agree with Gift. If these guys do manage to stick around for another season, I don't know if they plan to or not. All these other games that are coming out. I know Ender really only rose to the challenge because Tyrael and them all play WoW together, etc. So if they stick around, great. They'll definitely improve season to season. But if it's just kind of a one and done thing, it'll be interesting to see, who all actually sticks around to play with another team next season.
If I can add one more thing to that too, Ender has been playing like late. I mean, it's only like 10 p.m. for me, but Split can attest to this too. Like Ender will show up at like 10 p.m. Pacific and do like 3s and 4s with us. I think he's got a young kid, so I mean, I think the hook's back in. I think he is enjoying playing infantry again, especially skirmish. So he might stay, and I think if Boney unfades, and if you have Fausto for a whole season, upgrade the meds a little bit. This could be a good squad. I really do hope they stay and keep a majority of the core and just make some slight upgrades. And I think they could be a legit contender after that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is all I have. Do you guys have any final words?
Nope.
Did you?
Nope.
All right. Well, that concludes the Week 5 preview for USL Live. I'd like to thank Bowen for recording and MP for being the executive producer. That's it. Peace.